Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Tantra, still learning how to use YouTube. So I told Shama, who I'll introduce in a minute, that we just had to put on our best face because YouTube starts recording before Zoom does. So here's our best face, Shama, Viola, and Tantra Maat. So that begins it. The second thing I want to do is I want to thank all you for being here. I'm thrilled. I got so many responses. So the way to be in this conversation is you walked in our living room and then you walked in where Shama and I are just hanging and being two women very interested in something. I'm gonna start crying now. Very interested in something that we think is very important and being able to discuss it with each other in such a manner that hopefully the living experience of it comes across, not just the learned experience or not just the knowledge, but actually what a path is, what an initiation is, what got both of us independently involved in Damanhur and the Temple of Humankind. It's really whatever shows up. But before I start, I want to review, for those of you that haven't been here before, what had CreateAWorld start. About a year ago, it came to me that I wondered if it was possible to generate an environment, some people call it raw feed, where we, like TikTok and those type of things, but where we were really where worlds were forming, where we really were with people and environments that were creating a world. That seemed really important to me. I've just been flabbergasted listening to the news. It's like listening, I don't know if you ever used to watch soap operas, black and white, that kind of dates me, but you'd go in 2 weeks later and it was the next day on the soap opera. And that's kind of like what the news is like. We're getting the same information over and over again, the latest version. So we're not able to really live where things and exist except in our own little quadrant where something is alive, where we're not paying attention to the news mainly. And we're busy being alive and basically creating a world. So Damanhur has been creating a world for over 45 years. And it's a good world. And it's a world that for some of us has really given us a way to deepen the more ancient and more sacred parts of ourselves in a real, honest, sacred technology, in a real, honest, living world. They're a community. They're both an ecological community and a spiritual community. And all of you that do know me on this recording and on this YouTube channel is that, I'm technical, but I'm sacred technical. And any way we can technically remember who we are as part of a greater creation, remember who we are as a part of a living field, remember who we are perhaps even as immortals, and who we are if we were one soul being. That's my whole life is dedicated to that. So I'm going to tell 2 short stories, and then I'm going to turn over to Shama for anything she has to say. And then I'm going to interview her, Tantra Maat, interviewing my most beloved sister, Shama Viola. It'll be so much fun. So I was told when I was 22 that I needed on my 68th birthday to come to an environment that was both spiritually and ecologically advanced spiritually. And that before my 68th birthday in January of that year, I was in a living room with a woman named Susie, and she was sharing with Georgia and Maryland about this world called Damanhur and the Temple of Humankind. And I jaw dropped because it was clearly exactly the template that I'd been given when I was 22 years old. So that was my first trip to Damanhur with a group of us from the field of Tantra Maat. After that, I sent them into the mystery school, not me, because I wanted to see if Damanhur was legit. And they came back in such good shape, I started it the next year. So there you are. And in regard to Shama, the minute I met her, I knew her. I don't know how, don't know where, but it was instant sisterhood, instant plotters, because you know me, I plot. And we began our journey together, both as two people really interested in Damanhur and it being in the world, and both of us in our individual journeys. Shama, make sure you talk about what you actually do individually from Damanhur, because we really are creating a world now. We're building a new world within which new realities can rise. And this YouTube channel, this living channel, is dedicated to promoting that in the ethers of creation. So Shama, just anything you want to say, and then I'll start asking questions.
Just glad to be here. Excited about what might happen. I have no idea, you know, how we're going to engage and what's going to come of it. But if we are here, I always trust that I'm in the right place at the right time with the right person. So everything positive and good is going to come of it.
Beautiful. One of the things that in the work we do in the field of Tantra Maat and in the LOC Institute is one of the things we pay attention to is how words have gotten trapped in prior existing concepts. And so when you say the topic tonight, for anyone that doesn't know, or this morning, is the path of initiation. And that really is the topic. And Damanhur has done a lot of research on this. Damanhur has been in the research of it and been in the practice of it. And so the first thing I told Shama I wanted to talk about is, you know, the word path and the word initiation, because those two words have become boxed in a way that doesn't give us the freedom to scale into being greater natures of ourselves. So anything about that, Shama, you want to start with?
Yes, it's interesting that you are saying this, because the path of initiation is a title that you have given to what in Damanhur is called Medi-Action. We have never called it the path of initiation, although it is. So we call it Medi-Action because for us, this path involves a looking within and listening within, which we associate with meditation, and the action that is needed to build an individual's in its own awareness, on its path, on its journey, and to build a community and to build a new world. So Medi-Action is what we say, but it has been easily translated by itself into the path of initiation and has been taken over outside of Damanhur. It's called the path of initiation. And it's true, it is what is that. But because we don't call it that way, if you were talking to any Damanhurian about the path of initiation, they would have to think a moment and connect it to Medi-Action. So these are the two names, one in Italy and one out there in the world, the path of initiation. So let's talk about the path of initiation. What is a path? The path is a journey that one chooses to follow step by step by step. It is a road that takes you someplace that, you know, that you need to choose because you want to go to that someplace. So even though that's someplace you maybe have never been there, it may be just something you heard about, and you may not know exactly what you will find if there is a there. When you choose a path, you commit to a journey. You commit to walk one step, one step, one step, one step, one step. And each step reveals something because it takes you from where you are to where you are, to where you are, to where you are, to where you are, which is always different. So this path, it's truly a life's journey. For us, it is a lifelong commitment, not only a lifelong commitment, but even even a commitment of many lives, because we do believe that we were together way back then, many other times, but especially in certain places, and that we were aware that we needed to come together to proceed on the journey, to create a world, a new world, to continue to create that world together, and to continue on that journey. So why initiation? Because initiation is a portal where, through free will, one chooses to step onto another reality that is, okay, I am going to commit my life to achieve a certain level of awareness, a certain level of service, a certain level of connection with people, with plants, with animals, with gods and goddesses, with life itself. I am going in through a portal so that I can allow spirit to guide me forward. I trust that I will be guided into an enhancement of my own beingness through the path that I'm choosing. Initiation is asking for the help of divinities to engage with you, to not be alone on the path. So the path is the journey, and you walk on your own two legs. But as you go through the portal, you are not alone. You have many walking along with you, many others committed to the journey, to the goal, to the mission, and having divinities walking with you to reach those missions and those goals, which are goals in service to humanity, goals in service to the evolution of human consciousness and the healing of the planet.
Just giving people a minute to take that in. And also working on not crying. For me, I've been labeled, and I take it on fully. I've been labeled a mystic, a seer, and a prophetess, but I am. And so my heart is the journey of humankind back into their relationship with all the other aspects of creation. And when I began to explore Damanhur, and I first of all began to see the genuine intent of the people, I won't say where I was one time, but I was somewhere else one time. No place anybody on this call knows, in case you all have any of my history in your head. And I was being taken to see the head of this spiritual community, and the man in front of me was saying to me, we've lost our ego. And because at that time I couldn't keep my mouth shut as well as I can now. Well, I'm not sure that's true. I went, I know I'm watching it on your butt. And I got ushered back out of the sanctuary before I even got to meet the person in charge. But what's really, really beautiful about the people of Damanhur living there, and one of the things I want Shama for us to speak about at that moment of transition out to the outer world that Damanhur has been in as part of the path. But one of the most beautiful things about going is somehow in our spiritual walk, we've lost the beauty of being ordinary people with ordinary lives. We've forgotten that ordinary people with ordinary lives can be extraordinary. And that part of our dedication in our ordinariness, which is growing food together, eating together, discussing our challenges together, coming together to make projects together, is that is what it is to be in unity with all life. And so much of the spiritual paths that have been going on seem to separate us from the ordinary. But that, when I was 3 years old, I said, why don't people remember this as paradise? I was so startled. It really was very hard on me the first 20 years of my life, because the way I was watching humanity experience itself and the way I knew humanity were so dramatically different that I actually had trouble with my own sanity for a long period of time, till I could sort of get my feet underneath me. So one of the beauties of getting to be with Damanhur, I came in 2014, is that Falco, the man who came from the future, really, he did. I won't tell you where I come from. We won't do 2 shockwaves at once. And came and said, would you like to get to work about something? And a whole bunch of people said yes. And some of the rest of us who never got to meet him personally, we have one day birthday different. We said yes, us too. So that's the first piece I want to put in play. The second piece I want to put in play is that one of the things that I and others struggled with when we first began the Medi-Action path was that we were sort of incarcerated in belief systems of we were going to be asked to ignore other disciplines, ignore other ways of life, to do the right path, doing the right thing to get us to heaven. And so part of this conversation today is really dedicated to breaking all that up, that everything has a place, everything's part of everything else, everything operates on behalf of everything else, and everything is in relationship with everything else. So just anything about that, Shama, that comes to mind.
In Damanhur, we believe very strongly that truth is like a large crystal with 1,000 facets. And we are one facet, and we honor all of the other facets. They're all needed in order to create this amazing variety of truths that are individual and collectively varied and complex and interesting. There is not, in this particular reality we live in, the possibility to have a one truth. The one truth is all of it, all of the various facets. And so, yes, we proceed on a path that is one facet, and we choose that. And we totally respect and honor all the other people that choose whatever facet they choose, because that's where they are drawn, that's where spirit takes them, and that's where life, light, consciousness can arrive to them through a variety of ways. So looking at it that way allows for everybody to be free to explore where they are in the way that they want to, and then to change facets. They can go from one to another. And the more we explore the many facets of truth, the more we realize we know so little, but the more we become larger in our understanding of the complexities of life and the amazing angles from which we can perceive life, the universe, and everything. So we understand that there is a union, that there is a one union, but that it has amazing variety of ways of perception, of perspectives, and that we as humans are free to explore and to explore as many as we want. And then at some point, it may behoove us to choose one, to explore it in depth. So while being large enough to embrace all of the others, it often it often feels more valuable to explore one in a vertical way, going deep down into one in order to build on that and see where it takes you. Because if we kept on just going all around, we could stay on the surface and appreciate so much variety. But there is also another modality of being, which is also, while you embrace all of it, you can go deep with one and see where it takes you, because there it gives you a chance to build character, build solidity, because you can understand more and more and more and more and more of one thing that could even be infinite. So that is the beauty of acknowledging the oneness, the variety of that oneness, the beauty of that variety, and then choosing one that can take you on that path so that you can discover more and more and more where you can go, how deep you can go, how far you can go. It's really like, that's in a way the symbol of the cross. You can go horizontal and embrace everything, or you can go vertical and go as deep down and as high up as possible. So they're both totally valid and totally worthwhile exploring.
You know, it's beautiful to hear that said, but the way you said it, because I'm a strategist by nature, and actually my coming into Damanhur was an act of strategy, because what I saw, and if you could embellish on it, what I saw is they connected worlds that were vital to the fundamental building of this planet itself, and its consciousness, and the unity between the above and below. And it carried the components that I knew if I blended into that, and if people in the field of Tantra Maat we came together to blend into that we would have a much shorter distance between points, that the likelihood of restoring unity and restoring the fundamental nature of life here had a shorter timeline. It was very, very significant to me. And the thing that Shama said about it's very United States, to shop till you drop. You know, you do every single course, you do every single learning, everything. So, and people always wonder what's missing. Well, what's missing, I call it the BDW, the depth of field, broader, deeper, wider. And the broader, deeper, wider you can get your consciousness, the more actuality you have to be part of the creation of reality itself. And that was the other component that Damanhur, everywhere I turned, because most of you that know me, I am not a color inside the lines person. And I challenge existing norms, and I challenge what looks like structure. But it just had this beautiful give to it. I don't mean give in, I mean breath. In breath and out breath, and in breath and out breath. And so I would like to take the next few minutes, Shama, to really, because for me, this CreateAWorld is a living field. In other words, all of us together on this call, we are in an active creation. We are moving with something. This is not just information. This is something in formation that we're contributing to. So Shama, what I'd like to present is the sort of twofold, if possible. One is the path that I have chosen to be on, and others with me, and how that interfaces with the mother worlds and what they are. And perhaps, and I don't, see if you can draw the question out of my inadequacy for a minute, and how, from your perspective, I don't know, sort of the strategy or the validity or the power of moving with that in this particular path, what you see the possibility of people coming into that path can accomplish if they feel called.
Okay, then let's see. I'm going to say something, and then you can tell me if there is more that needs to be said. One of the gifts that Damanhur offers is the variety of specification and specialization. We could even say paths themselves that are possible. So we're talking about going deep into one path and then finding in that one path so many varied opportunities for individual enhancement. So let's say a person is drawn to animals. Well, there is a possibility to learn communication with animals. Let's say that a person is drawn to plants. Then there is a way to connect with the plants, to orient the trees, to deepen the communication with the plant world and with the mother world, etc. Let's say that a person is more attracted to a path involving death. You can follow that. Or a path about divination. You can follow that. There is so many ways to follow that which is heart and meaning for you, that one can specialize themselves. For example, I am in a group of dreamers. It's not the only group I'm in, but one of the groups I'm in is the dreamers. We do a lot of work with dreams, a lot of work, helping events to happen, helping operations that we do, magical operations that we do. We support them, we envision what needs to happen out. We use dreams. So what I'm trying to say is the variety of modalities available for people specialization so that the creation of a new world can happen, it's there. And so that there is not just one path, there's many. And together, the dreamers with the Caronti, with the people in Maginopoli, with the time people, then all comes together in this creation. So it's, for us, it's groups always. We hardly ever do anything alone. And we believe in the power of the groups. And so it is important for us to create a certain energy amongst the various groups so that they can interact with each other. And by interacting with each other, we know what we create together, all the groups together. So we have certain mission, certain operation, and each of us have a role. And we share these roles and we share what happens and we work together to the fulfillment of those missions and those operations. So it's very stimulating and very exciting because you have the potential to go from one group to another, to become more skilled in certain areas of interest. But you can also have the humility and the pleasure of allowing certain groups to do their thing. You don't have to do everything. Just specialize in your own 2 or 3 and keep going and do your part, and they'll do their part, and together we create. And that is the fun of being in a community that has such variety of options for self-expression, for contributing to the creation of a new world.
Yeah, one of the things I love about my sister is that she always answers the question I was trying to ask, not the one I got out of my mouth. So I appreciate that's why we can really kind of, we can get to a lot in a short period of time because of that. That's all I have to say. And then come out with a action usually out of it. You know, what I want to respond to our public about is that we can't avoid moving into complexity. We can't afford it. We can't avoid it. That if you watch what's happening in the world, everybody's trying to get to one truth, one answer, one solution, making all the other answers wrong. But the beauty is it's breaking everything down to suddenly groups of people are starting to come together and they're starting to say, why don't we all get together and do this? Why don't we all get together and do this? So I know it's messy out there and I know it looks terrible, but how many of you women have had children? It's really messy and it really hurts. And you really wish you hadn't started the journey. And yet it is so clear that the next level of complexity is occurring. And I think there's something in between this bridge, but I'm going to go for the bridge and then see what comes out. One of the things that fascinates me is the interface, because the field of Tantra Maat is a much smaller complexity. I have two groups, and we have our global group. But it has this, the reason I did it was so that we would all start interfacing with other groups. We would start being kind of like what I call the mother lode, that we would build coherency, cohesion, and energy. We would build what Damanhur calls vital units. And then whatever we entered into, we would be enhancing. We would be enhancing by bringing our energy of our unified field into it. So when Falco died, and Shama, correct me, he had left a message or had already given the message that Damanhur, that for a while had invited people in. They had come to Damanhur. So if you chose the Medi-Action path of initiation, you would go to Damanhur to do it, and which we did, I might add. But over time, it's now they're in this amazing complexity of everybody coming in, which is what we're all used to. Come to my house, or I come to your house, into what it is to move out beyond a small community. It's not that small, actually, into being a global part of a global world. And so what I've really loved to draw from is I've drawn from Shama to come in to work with people in our past lives together, in our sense of personality, multiple personality states that we exist in. I've asked Nandu to come to talk about how to position ourselves as a community. So they're a wealth to draw from of people that have been exploring what it is to live as a one world species, as a one being species. And it's why I'm doing this call with Shama. The eventual kind of focus, Shama, I want to try to enter into it. If it doesn't, we just know it's not going that way. Because for me, the reason I'm in that particular lifelong path is it fits the parameters of my own path, and it scales me. It has me grow faster, become more capable, and it brings back the magic, which I think magic is missing.
Right.
Over to you.
Right. So the path of initiation, which is Medi-Action, is really a way to explore consciousness by having information, receiving knowledge that has been passed on to us by Falco, which is ancient knowledge that belongs to humanity. So we have knowledge that is available, but it's knowledge that doesn't remain in the abstraction and in the level of just mental. It's knowledge that becomes the trigger for actions that create something, and for magic that is really the result of a variety of rituals that are being made, rituals being ways to connect with divinities that are assisting us in whatever we are creating the ritual for. There so many rituals for so many things. So we have this interwoven marriage between information, knowledge, and the action needed to allow for the magic and the rituals to take us to places where, again, we are not alone. We are in alliance with other species, other divine forces, to empower consciousness in humanity, but to empower a reality of unity, a reality of awakening, a reawakening of humanity's consciousness. So there is work to be done. There is quite a bit of work, but it's work based on information, on understanding, on it's not just spontaneous feelings. They can be there, but it's a very technological approach, because for us, the information is necessary as a basis in order to do the proper actions, which is the technology, needed to be effective in the operations that we are focused on doing each group or for each ritual. So there is really a balance of that. And, you know, in order to be efficient, we need to be technologically savvy, technologically aware, technologically knowledgeable, and know why we do what we do and what the results that we desire to obtain are. And so that is the difference. The difference is it's not so much that we spend time in
philosophizing.
What did you say? In
philosophizing.
Philosophizing. We have that part, but we share that part in order to give a base to people, to make them understand why we do certain things and why we pursue certain missions and do certain operations. So it's quite concrete.
You know, the phenomenon of the next 5-6 years, as I see it, which of course I'm saying my site, is that we are coming back into unity with the rest of creation. We just are. And so the practicalness that Damanhur brings to it, it's no different than how you learn how a car works.
Absolutely.
It's in all, I would imagine almost everybody that's on this YouTube conversation with us has that spark inside of them that has a remembrance, that actually has this remembrance of when we walked with the gods, when we were even perhaps immortal ourselves. And it's been, a lot of work has been, and when we talked with the animals, my dog, Lily, we had a complete, and still do, complete bond of communication. Nothing ended. And we wonder sometimes, why our lives feel shallow. And I have observed humanity. My first psychic consult was when I was 19 years old. I'm 75. I really am 55. But somehow the linear calendar has not figured it out right. In my world, I'm 55. But the point is that as you begin to see that you're connected as a wisdom, that you're connected as a being that built reality here and was part of the human being is designed to participate in preserving paradise. That's our function. My words, paradise, not Damanhur's.
But no, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so we feel this urge and this let's get to work, and we've been kind of mesmerized into trying to move human beings around. But in the terminology of the field of Tantra Maat, we talk about etheric territories. And that's where you go out into the realms where energy becomes matter, where spirit becomes flesh. The divination of spirit is what the divination of flesh, the divination of bringing the flesh back into spirit. These are all ancient technologies. These are not something we're going to discover in the future. This is something we had in the past that's literally restoring itself into the actions of human beings. Like when I go to Damanhur, I go into the cabin. And honest, I promise you with all my heart that my being in this particular cabin and my getting a particular massage had a lot to do with when I had COVID and almost died, that my body just decided to start a new biological path. That's a black and white response. That's not woo-woo. That's not it's literally technologies that allow us to embody, that allow us to commune, that allow us to remember what we're capable of as participants in returning paradise or building new futures within which paradise can rise. So thank you. That was like the best answer I could have asked for it if I'd known the question. It really, really great. Really great. It got me, it's funny, Shama, when I'm just always busy. If anybody asked me why I did what I did, it'd probably stop me cold and I'd walk into a wall because I never think about why I do anything. I'm just busy. I'm busy creating a world. And I have people with me and we're all in our own faculty busy creating worlds. And we just come together in our group just to build those vital units, to build that community power that allows multiple worlds to exist. So, but it brought me into a question, which is interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
And it really, because the way my field of Tantra Maat got into the Medi-Action was very fast and very synchronic, and it fit a lot of parameters so fast we just had to get in. So I actually don't know if people were interested, what you would say if people have any interest at all. My first thought was everybody should go read the website. The website's fantastic. And it fills in all the blanks of what we haven't talked about really fast. But also, if anybody even has that little spark going off, what would be your recommendations? What would you say?
Okay, what I would say, first of all, your advice is perfect. Yes, go visit the website, absolutely. Then, if there is an interest in exploring Medi-Action, there is a new group beginning on March 12th. Let me see, to be clear, March 12th, yes, March 12th. The first 3 sessions, which will be weekly on a Saturday, the first 3 sessions will be introductions. So they will be just a way to become familiar with this particular jargon, like every group seems to have their own. So like to be able to ask questions, to be able to check it out and become a little bit more in tune to the information given. Probably the information will be given similarly on the 3 Saturdays, because this is open to anybody. And if you come on the first and others may come on the second and may come on the third. So it's introductory. How can one sign up? And know that you can leave anytime. It's easier to leave Medi-Action than entering, because you just leave. Or entering it is, right now, you would need to fill up a form with your name, date of birth, and address so that we know where you are, because we are now starting 3 groups at the same time, one in Europe, one in Italy, and one in America. So there will be 3 different groups. The one in Europe will also be in English, but only for Europeans. The one in America, only for Americans. And there is a form, just a 1 page, where a person can just write their name, address, phone number, email, so that we can let them know when, where, how, send the link, etc., etc. Very, very simple. And then, as I say, during March, those 3 sessions will be just introductory. And then if a person decides to begin, they can continue. And we would meet on a Saturday in April, May, June, and we would go for a few months with a variety of topics, a variety of teachers, a variety of exploration, information, just a variety of angles from which to see things. And at a certain point, probably 9 months later, 11 months later, we don't know, there could be a moment in which, if a person has followed through, this person would be asked, are you ready for initiation? Initiation is, as I said before, are you ready to commit to a journey that is a lifelong journey for yourself, of individually going deep into a spiritual path that you feel suited for you, with the help of divine forces that are allied with humankind. So that's pretty much it. And then there is, I'm going to go even further, because then there are this path of initiation. It goes on for maybe a couple, 2 or 3 years of more and more involvement, more and more togetherness, more and more working together towards certain missions. But there comes a moment in which there are no more instructors, in which the instructors are everybody in the group that you're in. Where you choose your own group of research. Maybe you want to be on a research that has to do with connection with the plants. Well, then you have other people doing the same. And then you can meet together and you can share together your research, your results, and hear other people and grow through other people. And the research can include you exploring beyond what Damanhur can give you in terms of information, exploring experiences with a certain shaman, with going to a certain place to visit some special forest or whatever. You would be more independent at a certain point and really work to build more and more basis and strength in the group that you choose to participate in. And that continues with as many groups as you want to, and continues on. And that is the contribution that you do to the earth, the humanity, but also to Damanhur, because all of these groups that we have, that we do research with, are very useful, because they stretch us, they bring to us their result, and we go bigger in our understanding of things that we don't have the time to study. We may not have the specific interest to inquire about. And so the sharing among the many groups becomes your own teaching. So it's a very interesting. Anyway.
I'm going to tag on that. We have 2 focuses in this call. One is to be part of CreateAWorld. And the invitation to Shama in this conversation is because all of us on the web, I love the web, because it's all going out into that electromagnetic field. It makes me very happy. We're contributing to what the people that are contributing there are doing. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is, it would be very advisable for humanity to make a shift in consciousness. And for those of you listening, right now would be good. And that is, instead of looking for what contributes to you, but to realize that you came here because at this time, because of what you can contribute. And it is, I am having this, this only happened 2 weeks ago. I said, well, let's just do it. And so here we are doing it. because there's this phenomenon. We have this like odd 10 commandments in the field of Tantra Maat, but one of them is, why not? What if? And I just didn't think I could take the chance of missing somebody that was part of this operation, these operations. I just knew that even if it's one, you never know. You know, most of our avatars were one, you know, and they came sitting, listening at the fire to someone who was just passing through. So that's really important. It's really important. And timing, we are in the midst of Medi-Action right now as a world, where this ability to be calm and to be in action and to have focus and to figure out the structures that make the most impact. Some of you are secular. That means you work in, my daughter is an activist beyond belief. It would put us all to shame. We would all lie down and sleep for years if you know everything she's involved in. And then there's her mother, who's completely vertical. I work in bringing humanity back in unity with the powers and forces of creation. That's my interest. Why? Because they have more clout. They have more power. And they were the ones that created this place. And so it just seems logical to me. So this is even, I deeply appreciate you being here with us. And for those of you that'll be listening later, and I have two questions got posted, so I'm going to do that now. But I also want you to know your level of contribution, just listening and just being here. We are vibrational consciousnesses who are interested in restoring life here to how it exists as whole. And our presence matters more than anything. Our presence matters. Just anything about that, Shama, and then I have two questions that were posted.
I'm going to say something that may not have anything to do with it, but comes to me because it has been so visible. Sometimes I look at Facebook because I have my page, etc., and I have been stunned by the amazing, incredible, fantastic, unique creativity of so many who show their particular way of doing something. I have been saying to myself, these young people are aliens, they've come to change the world. And this is how they do it, by showing us things that we didn't think was possible. So there is already a wave of souls that have come to this earth to inspire us with the way they do things. They do things that we have never seen before, miraculous things. And I love it. And so they seem to be alone, but they are there and they have a following that is just like me saying, oh my God, this is incredible. This is incredible. So through technology, it's easy to have a virtual group like this by you contributing who you are and what you do. And all of a sudden, others are totally inspired by you and may just do whatever you are inspiring them to do. So I just wanted to say that because there is a shift, a beautiful wave of beings coming into this world from other worlds that have just come to lift humanity's awareness of their potential by showing us miraculous things that they can do with their body, with their art, with it's amazing. So, so that's one thing that I want to say. Please watch these incredible beings and acknowledge that we are helped. Many are coming to help us on the path to change the world, heal this world and create a new world.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I don't know if I've
No, we're
answered
good.
that.
No, you keep going. Don't stop.
No, but what the other thing that you wanted from me? You had asked a couple of things, and now I don't remember the second one. I don't know.
Just start where you're at.
Discover?
No, just start wherever your thought is.
So, okay, so just going free flow. In Damanhur, what is crucial for us is positive thinking. So to realize that everything that happens to us can teach us is an opportunity. And so
okay, well, I'm gonna interrupt you. So I have to tell you the one that flabbergasted me. First time in Damanhur, I've just met Shama. I'm sitting in so the community comes together and sits in the room. And I'm so irritated because the quarry next door has literally closed the road to the temple. And it's this narrow, I mean, it's just narrow road anyway. And I am like so irritated. My sister stands up there and explains what they've done like it's a glowing opportunity for a new creation. I am like, God, they really mean it about they really have positive thinking. Anyway, I had to insert that.
We believe in synchronicity. We believe synchronicity is a law that allows us to be beneficiary of this incredible potential of having everything happening for the benefit of all. But we have to choose it. We also believe in free choice. So we have a few things that are sacred to us, free choice being the highest one. And synchronicity as the support of the free choice to recognize that the potential that is happening, that everything that happens to us has the potential to be turned into something useful, into something beneficial, into something that can bring us forward in whatever we want to go. So through positive thinking, through being with others, through learning through the mirrors of others, and to be always challenged by compassion, understanding, release of your own position of being right and being better than, inner work, positive thinking, free will, synchronicity. All of these are tools that we are using in Damanhur to move forward on a path that is not always easy. In fact, it creates challenges for us to strengthen us along the path a lot. And we believe in changes, in movement, in really keeping on going no matter what, and to keeping steady on a path and never give up, and be true to your word and just proceed. So there is a variety of values that for us are basic. And these are some of the ones that I've mentioned.
Beautiful, thank you. One of them is also doubt, the health of doubt.
Doubt is one element that can help us to slow down, wait, and recognize that doubt is useful, that it can allow us to be with the uncertainty, and that the uncertainty is giving us the opportunity to make conscious choices instead of impulsive choices or fear choices or choices that are self-serving. So doubt will allow us the time to ponder, to evaluate, and take the time to really make the right choice for us.
Beautiful. Isn't it interesting that what Shama just shared is the opportunity to give up comfort, and we're having to give up comfort anyway. So we might as well make it useful. I mean, we might as well strategize our loss of comfort and create a world, don't you think? So
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Shama. Thank you, everyone. On YouTube will be posted the link to damanhur.org, and also will be posted, I'll work it out with Shama, the link to the form where you would go to fill out the form if you're interested. And also in my mail out that I'll be doing in this month, I will also have that. Does that work, Shama?
That would be perfect. I will send you the form directly, and then you can put it wherever you think is appropriate. So thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, Tantra. A pleasure engaging with you and sharing about Damanhur and the path of initiation or Medi-Action.
And see, this is how Shama and I get together. We're so busy, we don't have time to chat. So we just do a Facebook Live so we can create a world together. I mean, what's better